Canada is learning what immigrants actually add to the economy. So Canada is now in a technical recession, and our Prime Minister Mark Carney has said that
we see some weakness, in part because of clear decisions by the government. So we have taken back control of immigration. That's meant the population growth has flattened. In fact, it's slowed, or it's been negative for the last 2 quarters.
if you recall, Canada's immigration policy was tightened this year. They reduced the number of people coming in overall, and they made some categories very hard. So in all, immigration number was very small this year. Now, if where you used to have 100 customers, you now have 60 customers, you will sell less, right? Immigrants are people who need to buy clothes, buy food, rent houses, use transportation. You get the point. So immigrants are also an integral part of any economy. Last year was one year where anti-immigrant sentiment grew so high and so hot, and it even came into Canada, which was surprising because Canada is one of the friendliest countries in the world. But what caused that anti-immigrant sentiment that we saw all across the world last year? It was years of hearing immigrants are the cause of the problems in this country. You hear them, they are taking our jobs. Oh, the houses are so expensive because of immigrants. Oh, our healthcare is collapsing because of immigrants. And sometimes when you tell these people that, yeah, immigrants also contribute to the economy, they work, they pay taxes, those people will quickly dismiss you and say, hey, let them go back. We will do our own jobs ourselves, even jobs that they wouldn't do normally. The truth is, the concerns these people are raising, they are valid concerns. Yes, housing was an issue. Healthcare is struggling. The cost of living all over the world is a real issue. But among these people that are always talking about how immigrants come to take from their countries, you hardly hear any of them acknowledge that immigrants are doing something positive or contributing something positive to the country. Immigration is as old as time. People have always moved from one place to the other. In the Bible, in the Old Testament, you hear God always telling them, remember the foreigners amongst you. Treat foreigners amongst you kindly, And I'm not saying open your borders to everybody. Yeah, by all means, control your borders. Many Nigerian professionals come to Canada thinking that, okay, I will continue with my career. Highly educated people that have led teams back home in Nigeria, they come to Canada to continue their career. What do they find themselves doing? 2 survivor jobs just to keep afloat. So Canada invites people, but it looks like it's not ready to accommodate the people. This is the real issue, not that people are coming. It's how the country is preparing for the people they are inviting, because most of these people came legally. This is the kind of conversations we should keep having that not only point out these real issues, but also reclaiming our dignity as immigrants. And that's what I try to do on my newsletter, Settled. I don't just do Canada good or Canada bad, but I also talk about what it means to live and think clearly as a Nigerian abroad. I'd love to have you there, and there's a link in the description for you to join. See, that Canada is pulling back immigration may be a blessing in disguise. First, it has exposed the economic benefits of immigrants, even to people who refuse to acknowledge that immigrants add to the economy. The other day, I was driving through 17th Avenue here in Calgary, and I passed rows and rows and rows of empty apartments waiting for people to come and rent them. There are lots of these apartments now in the city because of the change of building codes that allowed developers to build these buildings all over the city. These apartments were built in anticipation of people needing them. If immigration had continued the way it was, you would have people fighting over themselves to rent these apartments. Now, at least in Calgary, it's looking like a renter's market. Landlords are trying to compete and outdo themselves to attract renters. They are adding perks just to be competitive. So that now, if you get the opportunity to come into Canada, at least if you come into Calgary, you will not struggle to find a place to rent. You will get a nice, even new built apartment to rent in the city. And secondly, if Canada continues to control immigration like this, maybe the whole experience will be better for the immigrants who manage to make it in. Now they are not struggling for housing. Maybe there will be more jobs to go around, even for newcomers. The healthcare system may do better. And maybe all that will reduce the anti-immigrant sentiment that was building up in Canada. My point is not that Canada should not control immigration. Yeah, control immigration. But let's tone down on the anti-immigrant sentiment a bit. You don't have to pretend that immigrants are just only trouble, wahala, nothing else now. And you as an immigrant, don't take that on yourself. Don't let anybody make you feel like you are a problem. Also, remember what happened in the UK in 2012 when they were, too much immigrant students, whatever. Theresa May went ahead and took off the post-study visa. And people stopped coming to the UK to study because there was no incentive. Why would you spend thousands and thousands of pounds to study and then you're not allowed to stay after you study? So people found other places to go study and spend their money there. The UK universities were feeling it because apparently international students were the ones funding these universities. Even here in Canada, do you know what home students pay? Do you know what international students pay? The gap is far. Sometimes times 4 of what home students pay. That's what international students pay. So who is funding the school system? UK learned their lessons and they brought back post-study visa. You see, even in all this, their tightening of their immigration, whatever they have been doing, they did not pull out the post-study visa again. They did not pull it out entirely. They only reduced the months from 24 months to 18 months because they know if they remove it again, immigrants will go elsewhere to spend their money and their universities will suffer. You would think other people will learn, but obviously not. See what's happening in SA today. I know many Nigerians in South Africa that are doing well, doing legit businesses in South Africa, and they are contributing to the South African economy, right? When you pursue those people, when they close their businesses and everything, we'll see how that will work out for you. When people get frustrated about their economy, they pick on immigrants. Lots of uninformed arguments and talks about immigration. That is why I like this book, How Migration Really Works. My goodness, that book will challenge what a lot of people think they know about immigration. It's not a immigration good, immigration bad kind of book. I honestly don't like those binary arguments because it's never a simple conversation. This book shows that migration is more complicated than sentiments people carry around. If you have not read that book, look for it in your library. My library has it, but you have to wait for 2 weeks to get to your turn. But if you cannot wait or you want to own a copy of this book, you can go to Amazon. I will leave my link below so you can buy from Amazon so you can keep the book if you want. It's a book that will help you make intelligent conversations and think about immigration intelligently instead of the surface level thing that people just throw around. Because honestly, we need more serious and educated conversations around immigration and immigrants. And to my fellow Nigerians and fellow immigrants, you don't just take. Our own Prime Minister Mark Carney, who is a top-notch economist, has said that reduction in immigration was part of the reason why Canada is facing this technical recession. My people, you add to the economy. You work, you pay taxes, you buy, you keep the demand alive. You are part of the system. And Nigeria should pay attention to. You see, a great country like Canada that went into technical recession partly because less people were coming in. Now think about it this way. What if people were leaving Canada in droves like people are leaving Nigeria in droves today? Don't you think the economic impact would have been more? Canada recognizes that human capital is very important to the economy. Imagine if we're not losing people. Now, we're not even talking about people coming into Nigeria. Just let's say we're not losing people as much as we are, like we're doing. Just imagine how much value that would add to our economy. No, the government doesn't care. Nigerians come over to Canada who want the best of immigrants they can get. They help build the country's economy. And the country turned around and said, oh, we're now in a technical recession, partly because we reduced the number of people we are allowing to let in. That should tell us something. Our leaders should be taking note. If we can build a country where people are even struggling to come into Nigeria, to work in Nigeria, to start businesses in Nigeria, don't you think that would make our economy better? Canada will be all right. They will adjust. They will figure things out. But I hope this moment helps us talk more honestly about immigration. As always, I'd like to know what you think in the comments. Do you think this will make people see immigrants differently, or the conversation will still go back to blaming immigrants? Let me know in the comments. Remember to subscribe to my newsletter and subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.